Secretárias e secretários do Brasil e do mundo, nós estamos hoje com a maior autoridade mundial do secretariado, minha grande amiga, parceira Lucy Brazier, que estará conosco no FISEC 2022, 10 e 11 de setembro, no palco do Golden Hall do WTC Events Center, e estará conosco pela primeira vez no MDA, Modern Day Assistant, presencial, no WTC na cidade de São Paulo. Lucy Brazier, thank you so much for receiving us and especially being such a good friend and partner of our club or of our Brazil community. And I want, everybody already knows you, but if you could introduce who is this Lucy Brazier?
Oh, Pepita, firstly, thank you so much for inviting me back to Brazil. It's one of my favorite places in the world to be. And that's because both you and your secretaries are always so welcoming. And it's just such a joy to see people who are so committed to their own personal development. I absolutely love coming to Brazil. So thank you for that. So who am I? Well, for those of you that don't know me, I'm the CEO of March and Publishing. We publish Executive Support Magazine, which is a global magazine which trains assistants, but we also run events all over the world, and we run training all over the world, one of which is the Modern Day Assistant as a strategic business partner, which we're going to be talking about more, I think, on this interview. But the other side of what I do is very much campaigning on behalf of all of the assistants globally to make sure that businesses understand how best to utilize them and the return on investment that they bring to the businesses, and understanding how best to make sure that businesses are working with their assistants in partnership, because coming out of COVID, of course, that has never been more important. Every business wants to make sure that they're getting value from every member of staff, and assistants are very much part of that. And so that's an enormous mission for me. I'm spending an inordinate amount of time at the moment talking to businesses about the new global skills matrix, which has come out of the World Administrators Alliance, which is the first ever career framework for assistants. It's been a 6-year project, which I worked on with the World Administrators Alliance. And it's what earned me my OBE, my Officer of the British Empire Award last year, which was awarded to me by the Queen of England for services to administrative professionals. So hopefully I'm one of the global authorities on the administrative profession. And when you come and you take the course, you'll see why. And I shall look forward to it.
Wow, I'm so happy to have somebody that connects everybody of planet Earth. It connects the best minds, and I would say the best hearts also, more passionate for the profession and everybody. So we are so honored and so happy to have you again for the third year that you're participating. No, the fourth year, because the first time was in 2019 in Rio de Janeiro, my city here in Brazil. And then the 2 years of the pandemic also. And this year, we're so happy to have you again here in Brazil, in the city of São Paulo. For the first time, we're having the Modern Day Assistants that already is known globally and everything. And we were always looking to bring something that globally it was so valued to really have everything that exists of the best, of the most modern, of the most strategic, of the most connection of the executive assistants with their business, with their leaders and everybody, and conducted with the authority of Lucy Brazier. So just for them to know what is the scope, what are the objectives, what is the flow of this incredible MDA?
Well, I think really, Pepita, it's on a kind of physical level, just to say that usually when people walk into that course at the beginning, they come in a bit timid and a bit not quite sure, and really wanting to be the best that they can possibly be in their field. And over 2 days, I watched them become, before my eyes, confident, and to change their mindset in how they can lead up and how they can get control of this relationship to ensure that their executive is the very best that they can possibly be, to make sure that they're future-proofing their career and that they're of real use to the business and they understand where they sit within the business in order to be able to do that. So we start off by talking a bit about the profession itself and the three major changes that have happened over the last 12 years that have really changed the way that the assistant is seen and the things that they are expected to do. And those three things, of course, are the last recession and artificial intelligence, and then the pandemic, because everything just changed. And so what is one more change? I think coming out of COVID, we have the most amazing opportunity to reinvent the role. But then we move on from that to do communication, because I think at the heart of everything that the assistant does is communication, and where it goes horribly wrong, it's because that piece isn't right. We explore the personalities of the executive, the personalities of the assistants. We look at learning styles and the way in which both the assistant and the executive take on information and how we can make sure that those communication flows work well. But we also talk a lot about collaboration, and collaboration is one of those buzzwords right now coming out of COVID that everybody is talking about, and it's a completely different style of communication. And it's all around setting goals and then making sure those are delivered. So we look at that in some depth. And then coming out the other side of that, out of the communication piece, which is a huge piece on day one, we look at the partnership itself and how you partner with your executive to make sure that you are underpinning everything that they are doing to make sure that they're the very best that they can possibly be. But also, I think it's very much looking at how many executives you've got and how you manage if you've got multiple managers, and making sure that you have got the agenda so that you understand where you can add value and where you can take on greater responsibility. So that's day one. Day two is far more practical. I think day one is very much looking at yourself and looking at the way in which you do things and how you behave and what your value systems are and how that can add value to your business. But I think day two is very much, okay, how do we take those things now that you understand yourself and make sure you can put them into place? So we start off with doing a whole piece around what a strategic business partner actually is and what business language is and how to understand that and the kind of things that you need to know about your business and where you find that information so that you can make the step up to become a far more strategic business partner, and so that you are really supporting your executive at the highest level. And that's a really in-depth conversation. And I think for some, they find that quite uncomfortable. And then they go away and they suddenly realize the nuggets of gold that they've got. And they come back to me and they say, oh, wow, that was just the most amazing session, because I suddenly have all these tips and tricks as to how actually I can go get the information I need, which I've always known I need, but I didn't know where to find it. So that's that session. We move on from that to go and look at project management, and we do a 2.5-hour session where I teach project management, but from the point of view of organizing an event. And I do it that way because most assistants organize events, and I hope that by teaching it using the backdrop of an event, when you get asked to do another project, you can look and you can go, oh, I remember how she told us what the steps were. And then you can apply it to whatever project. So, and at the end of that, we send you off to actually do a project plan in teams, and you come back and you present that. We have a session then on decision making and problem solving. And again, that's very hands-on. You go off in your teams and you solve all sorts of problems. And we finish with stress and getting out of overwhelm, which might seem like a very weird one to end on, but actually it's totally related to the assistant role. And I promise that you will come dancing out of the course going, I can do anything. Because actually it takes all the things that stress you out and gives you actionable things to put in place to help you to balance your role and to make sure you're really successful. And of course, right now there's a thread through the entire thing that talks about how you do that in a hybrid environment as well as in a face-to-face environment, and how you get the communication right if you're working some days from home, and how you do project management from home. And so it really is, it's constantly evolving, this course. Every time I train it, we do different things based on the conversations that we have with the assistants. So it's absolutely bang up to date. And I think the last year I trained it, if you take into account the ones that I did in-house and the ones that we did online, 26 times, and every time it's slightly different depending on how the world is evolving. So very excited to meet the assistants in Brazil who are on this course and to see what their particular issues are, because globally we tend to find the issues are pretty much the same. But I think there are always things in every region which are specific to that region, and I can't wait to roll my sleeves up and to get down to working with these assistants to really make sure they come out the other end knowing they are world class.
Wow, that is incredible. And we had testimonials of three of directors and ambassadors of Brazil that did your course online last year during the pandemic. We sent them exactly for them to get to know it, the course, and to be able to bring that this year to Brazil. So we have many interviews also here on our channel of the club on the YouTube for them telling how did they absorb and put that in practice, because it's very practical. It's a mixture, and you integrate the attitude, no, the image, corporate, professional, personal image. You integrate everything, and with a very strategic view of how they really could increase their authority, their influence within the company. So they were so exciting, telling exactly how they got the knowledge, how they practiced during the course the knowledge, and how they practice on real life, on their relationships with their leaders, with their teams, their organization, on the way they deal on their role inside the corporation, and how that grew on the eyes of everybody, how they evaluate also, So it is, we are very happy, and we're going to do this course 2 days before FISEC. Is going to be Thursday and Friday, 8 and 9 of September, and FISEC 10 and 11 of September. So it's going to be great. We're going to receiving Lucy on the 7th of September, our Independence Day here in Brazil. She's arriving here to Brazil, and she's going to be with us on this immersion. So Lucy, can you send your last message about the MDA to the Brazil community?
Absolutely. I really would urge you to book. We only have 20 places, and I believe that so far we've sold 14 of those, and they are flying out. We have a list of people who are wanting to come. So if it's something you're thinking about doing, please book onto it, because it is really life-changing. I know marketing people always say that, but if you go and look at our Trustpilot, you will find numerous people who are saying this has totally changed my life, and I want to come to Brazil and do that. We put a special rate in place for the Brazil assistance, which is far more cost effective than any other course we do in the world, because we want you there. We want to be able to change lives in Brazil as well. And then you need to come to FISEC also, because FISEC is a joy, and I can't wait to be back there too. So thank you, Pepita, for the invite to speak there too.
Wow, thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you so much. And everybody, as Lucy said, we have a very special launch rate for our Brazil community. And we also have as bonus the pass for FISEC to participate, but being present, not virtually, being present on FISEC on the Golden Hall, and also to participate in one of Lucy's executive supports Congress, virtual Congress that she has also. So definitely, if you really see that is for you, run and go. Negotiate with your human resources. There's a special formats of letters that you receive. You're going to see in the description all the contact. So contact us, and we're going to give all the support. Lucy, thank you so much, and see you 7th of September here in Brazil.
I can't wait, Pepita. Thank you so much.
Pessoal, beijo grande para vocês. Espero todos vocês. Qualquer pergunta, entre em contato conosco. Beijo grande. Tchau.
Hello. I'm Lucy Brazier. I'm the CEO of March and Publishing, and we publish Executive Support magazine. And I am absolutely thrilled to be back in Brazil. It'll be my first time. Sorry, I'm going to say that again. Hello, I'm Lucy Brazier. I'm the CEO of March and Publishing, and we publish Executive Support magazine. And I am absolutely thrilled to be back in Brazil for the 4th time at FISEC this year. It's taking place on the 10th and the 11th of September, which is the Saturday and Sunday. And I will be keynoting on how the profession has changed since COVID. I can't wait to see you there. I shall also be interviewing the wonderful Anne Hyatt, who is the author of Bet on Yourself, but she was the EA to Jeff Bezos at Amazon before becoming EA to Marissa Mayer at Yahoo, and finally became the EA to Chairman of Google, Eric Schmidt, before creating the Chief of Staff job for herself and making herself the very first Chief of Staff in the world of tech. So she has incredible messages to share with you. I know you're going to be inspired by not just me and Anne, but by the enormous number of world-class speakers that Pepita has got lined up for you. So join me, 10th and 11th of September in Sao Paulo. I'll see you there.